Hey guys, it is Wingy here and welcome back to my channel. Yes, it's been a while, I do apologise. However, I don't know how much more consistent I'm going to be in the future, but I'll aim to get as many videos out as I possibly can. Obviously life is happening. But yeah, so I thought I would do a Big Finish review because I haven't actually spoken about Big Finish in maybe about a year, maybe slightly less. I don't actually know, but I was listening the other day and also today to Invaders from Mars, another Paul McGann story, which is chronologically the next one from the last one that I did. Can't remember which one that was, possibly the one with the Brigadier, but either way, let's talk about it. Now, so far with the Paul McGann run, I have been a little bit indifferent. I don't think anything has been shit, but I don't think anything has massively stood out. I think it's still very much finding its feet. And I think this story, I've got to say, is probably the most consistently, well, no, it's not consistently good, but one of the most enjoyable stories that I've listened to thus far in the Paul McGann range for Big Finish. So the basic premise of this one is the Doctor and Charlie, they land in 1930s New York, and there's a whole mystery going on. Like, there's gangsters involved, there's a private investigator, there's alien weapons, there's aliens on the planet, and they're just trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. Obviously everyone's entangled in it, and it's a really enjoyable listen. I think overall this was a good story, but this is why I kind of corrected myself before. The first half of this story is a little bit slow in getting to everything, whereas the second half of this story, I really think it ramps up, and the plot points in it and some of the things that it uses are really, really enjoyable. It's like classic Doctor Who stuff, and it's really, really fun. The main thing that I loved about this story is that it uses War of the Worlds. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, I mean, I'm sure you know of the story War of the Worlds, but back in the day, I don't know how true this story actually is. I think a lot of people like to think it's more than it was, but there was a rumour at the time when Orson Welles did his recording of War of the Worlds and it was broadcast on the radio, everybody listened to it and they thought, oh my god, this is actually real, this is actually happening, like the Martians are invaded. And there was like this mass hysteria and panic and everything. Like I say, I don't know how true that is. I don't think it's that true, but you know, it's one of them where it's like, oh, that would be fucking funny if that happened. But either way, the reason why I bring that up is this story uses that as part of the plot point, and I love that. I thought that was genuinely really clever and really fun and very, like I say, classic Doctor Who idea for a story. Partway through the story, you get these two aliens who land, who are these sort of racketeers, I guess, I think that's the word for it, where they send like eggs of these creatures, they hatch and say that they're really dangerous, and then they come in and say like, oh well, you know, we'll be your security, so you have to give us X, Y, and Z. They're obviously bluffing, they don't actually have that much power, but because everyone is sort of scared and is like, oh my god, there's these alien bat things, we're gonna, you know, give you what you want so that we all survive. And I love how they blended that with the War of the Worlds stuff, so it gets to a point where the Doctor figures out these guys are just bullshitting, they're just trying to make a profit, whereas this War of the World thing that's going on, let's try and trick them into thinking that, oh, well actually Earth is genuinely being invaded at the minute by Martians and they can't outgun them, so you better just fuck off. I thought that aspect was really, really clever, and I really love the way that Paul McGann plays it. He's genuinely excited about using War of the Worlds and this radio broadcast with Orson Welles against these two villains. I thought that was really, really cool. In terms of performances, I think Paul McGann is the standout. That's one of the things that I'll probably say in every single one of the reviews. Paul McGann genuinely could have been one of the greatest Doctors, and the reason why I say could have been is because he never got that TV series, so he'll never probably get the appreciation that he deserves. Yes, a lot of people love him through Big Finish, such as myself, maybe you watching this, but in terms of like general audiences, because he only had one TV movie which had a mixed reception, and Night of the Doctor, which was only a minisode but people seem to love, that's essentially it for a lot of people. And it really is a shame because you can clearly see the potential that he has as the Doctor, and he's fantastic with it. One thing that kind of annoys me about this story, like two things in particular. First of all, the music, it's really effective and it conveys the mood and the emotion and the style and the vibe of the story, but it is quite annoying. it's kind of similar to when I was talking about Sword of Orion, the Cyberman story, where they keep using the same music over and over and over to the point where it's like, okay, we get it, maybe he could have done something else. This one, it's not as bad as Sword of Orion in that sense, because they do switch it up a little bit, but yeah, the sort of bomb 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 sort of sound thing was a bit meh. And it was very similar to Peter Cushing film. I think it was the second one. I did a review of it where I sort of mentioned that specific bit of the music, and it sounds a little bit like that, so it is quite annoying. And then the second thing is, obviously this is set in 1930s New York, and the accents, now some of them might be accurate to that time, but they do still feel very stereotypical, they do feel very forced in a way, so people won't say something like observe, it'll be observe. Do you get what I mean? After a while, it loses its charm, and it does again get a little bit irritating, but thankfully, those characters aren't in it as much as everybody else, or aren't in it too much to the point where it's like, this is unlistenable, but it is an annoyance, and I did have to mention it. The Doctor and Charlie's relationship as well, it is genuinely feeling so far like one of the most natural Doctor-companion relationships. They definitely have chemistry, Paul McGann and India Fisher, and I really love those two. I love how they interact with each other. I love how they are when they're separate and they're talking about each other, how they are as separate people, obviously. I just really like it. It's genuinely turning into one of my favourite Doctor-companion pairings. Overall, I've got to say that Invaders from Mars is really clever in its execution. It's not flawless, like I said. It does have its issues, in my personal opinion, but Paul McGann is great. The use of War of the Worlds and Orson Welles, I think, is genuinely clever and really, really engaging and very, very fun. The whole story itself is very fun, particularly with the more sort of detective-y side of things, where the Doctor's pretending to be this PI. I think there was a couple of things actually with alien guns that don't really go anywhere, because it's like, oh yeah, we've got these alien guns, and then I don't think they get rid of them. I'm pretty sure they still have those guns. So there is a bit of a plot hole there, but either way, it's definitely one that I would recommend. I don't know what people tend to think of this story. I don't know if it's generally liked or generally hated, or just one of those where it's like, oh yeah, that was alright, and then you forget about it. I don't know. But from what I observed, I really like this one, and I would definitely go back to it again, and like I say, I would recommend it. In the comments below though, guys, let me know what you think of Invaders from Mars. I hope that is actually the title and it's not The Invaders from Mars, or The Invaders of Mars, or something. Either way. But yeah, let me know what you think. Love it, hate it, indifferent, whatever it is, let me know down below. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure you leave a like on it, subscribe for more. Social media and Patreon links will be in the description as always, so if you would follow me on any of those things, I would absolutely love you forever. But till next time, guys, you take care of yourselves. Goodbye.